Good morning, Burbs. My name is Azalira, and PSO2 Global had just dropped some really big news regarding the road to episode 6. Now, what this entails is that they're releasing information on a lot of the things that will be coming out, aka say the new story, the new classes, the new yada 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 yada, you know that stuff, which I'll be covering, and also a boatload of campaigns which is going to prepare you and also returning players to the game to get ready for episode 6. This video will be a little bit of a long one because there's so much to cover, but I'm going to put timestamps in the description below and whatnot, so please check out whatever you need to check out. So without further ado, let's take a look at what's important. So first of all, of course, there's the episode 6 story, which, well, I mean, it's not that important to cover, but you guys are going to get basically what is the final chapter, quote unquote final chapter for now, of PSO2. In my opinion, it's a pretty rushed-ish story, but still there's a lot of peculiar details that you can go into if you're really interested in the lore and whatnot. I personally wouldn't write it as anything too special. I actually did enjoy episode 5 a lot more than the episode 6, but well, what can you do about it, right? It has its good moments, and you should probably play it because there will be rather important enemies that you can practice against and whatnot, which you will see in the future. So it's more or less a good thing rather than a bad thing to just play out the story anyways, so you can be used to a lot of the things that will come in the future. Anyways, rapidly moving forward. So now we're going to have the Sign class Phantom, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to, and I've always been having these questions to me a lot since I'm more or less a Phantom main, right? A lot of people know me for my Rod Phantom and, you know, the signature Aura Rod and everything like that. A lot of people have been asking me, hey RC, are you going to make a guide for Phantom and things like that? And you know what? I cannot say no. I'm working on a 15-star video guide right now, which is going to be up very soon, but after I'm done with that, I will start recording a lot of the Phantom stuff very soon, so that's going to be very awesome. So let me go quickly over the Phantom class real fast. What Phantom does is it's a combination of 3 weapon types, right? Which is the Katana, which a lot of people will be looking forward to for sure. The Rod, which kind of makes Phantom more or less like a Force 2.0, but significantly faster due to its playstyle and whatnot like that. And then the last weapon is the Phantom Rifle, which kind of makes you a bit like Gundam, where you're shooting out like those laser bits and then using funnels and things like that. So a lot of people might appreciate that because it's a lot more, you know, sci-fi and things. It's a really good mobbing tool, but I'm just gonna put it straight for now that for you looking forward to playing like the Phantom Katana and everything like that, I will say that it is the weakest weapon out of all the 3. Like out of all the Phantom weapons. Also in Ultra Hard, the new difficulty that will come out in episode 6, the headshot multipliers for ranged classes do get nerfed. So Phantom Rifle in and of its own actually does get an innate, like, I wouldn't necessarily say nerf, but it's more of the fact that it's not as efficient as it could be, only because the fact that it just basically won't do as much damage as it would on the other difficulties, which, well, Ultra Hard will be the only relevant difficulty. So that kind of leaves Phantom at this awkward position where Rod is basically the end-all be-all best weapon of the class. But of course it doesn't mean that you can't play like Katana or Rifle if you wanted to. Like don't worry about that, okay? But I'm just saying for the people who care about like the min-maxing and everything, that Phantom is basically a Rod class. Just for you to be a little bit more realistic with expectations and everything. So yeah. More in-depth information on that later, but for anyone who loves playing tech casting and things like that, you're going to be very happy with Phantom. And for those who don't, maybe it's time to give it a try. So I highly suggest stocking up all the PA fragments and everything like that, so you can actually customize your techniques and everything, because you're going to need a lot of custom techs. And also, Phantom's casting also kind of plays a little differently than the Force casting, so you might have to use different techs and whatnot. So anyone who has like a Force character who may be transitioning to Phantom, I will tell you to consider thinking like, oh, do you want to replace not all, but like some of my tech crafts and things like that. So if you're looking for that, maybe, I don't know, make a new character and stuff like that. Oh, also the most important part, Phantom uses a Dex Mag conversion, by the way. So if you've been playing like Braver Bouncer and stuff that has been using Dex Mag, very important. That and also Phantom becomes a very strong subclass for classes like Braver Phantom, Bouncer Phantom. So especially for Braver and Bouncer players, you guys should really be eyeing the Phantom subclass. So definitely be prepared for that because that's very fun. That and also Kokia is a very, very interesting character, so hope you guys are going to enjoy the Phantom side story in episode 6. I love it. So it also seems that there's going to be a second successor class or sign class here in Etoile, which in PSO2 JP, Phantom and Etoile did not release at the same time, but I believe we are going to be getting 2 new classes at the same time in PSO2 Global here. Now, Etoile is a bit of a peculiar playstyle, where it plays a little bit more like fighter than anything, but the 3 weapons that it uses is the double saber, the dual blades, and the wand. Unlike Phantom, I will say that Etoile's balancing is very, very well done, where you can basically play all your weapons comfortably and feel that every weapon is balanced really, really good. Because even on my initial testings for the first day, right, I was just like getting the same weapon and doing a nice DPS check on Rock Bear and stuff for at least like 5 to 10 minutes straight for all 3 weapons, and the DPS comes roughly very, very similar. So I will tell you that you do not have to be worried about like whatever weapon you want to main on Etoile here, because either one is perfectly fine. But I do suggest having an option for you to be able to like use all 3 weapons and stuff like that, because there are its uses for every single weapon. Some weapons may be also a little bit weaker than others on certain situations. For example, Dual Blade for Etoile has its weakness where it does a really, really big damage with the full connect, aka the weapon action and stuff like that. But on the bosses and stuff where there is a damage cap, where your damage number is capped at a certain number, aka 99999, which is 1 million damage, you cannot bring out the full potential of the Dual Blade's full connect. So it's actually better off to use other weapons like Wand, stuff like that, where you will not be reaching the damage cap, aside from like 1 hit. So overall, Dual Blade's very, very interesting weapon in that it's a weapon where you can activate your weapon action in the middle of performing photon arts and things, where you can activate a guard frame. So for example, if you're in the middle of a really, really long animation like Light Wave, you can activate this guard frame and you will take exactly 0 damage. Etoile in and of itself is a very, very tanky class, where you even have a 70% damage mitigation. However, just be careful that you cannot be healed by outer sources except for your own mates. Well, mate items, not like your own mates as in like friends, you know? So what you're going to be doing is just moving around the battlefield really, really swiftly with your fast PAs, and then hitting really hard with your full connects and also your slow moving PAs, while also being completely safe with guard frames. So it's that kind of playstyle. While moving on to the next, the double saber, it's one of the more consistent weapons where it doesn't rely on any of its weapon actions to do like the huge, burst damage where you have to like hold your full connect, or like for one you have to hold your 1 gear charge and everything like that. For double saber, it's a very like tried and true counter based playstyle where you use your weapon action to counter the enemy, and then after successfully countering the enemy attack, it's easy for you to use your weapon focus to launch an enhanced attack, which would do a ton of damage. You can also just like spam counters on certain enemy attacks and things like that, but this is one of those weapons where you will be rewarded for countering the enemy a lot, but it's one of the more consistent weapons where you don't need to rely on any of those like huge bursts and huge everything to do major damage, because your PAs are already very, very strong without having to rely on any of those bursts. In my personal opinion, I feel like Double Saber is a very, very fun weapon, assuming that you're actually fighting bosses that you can counter very comfortably. In situations like, say, the mobbing and things, it feels really bad because you don't really have a lot of tools to really deal with a lot of that kind of stuff. And then if you're playing a boss that's not really aggressive, it's also not really that fun because, the whole weapon is like centered around counters, right? So for the most part, if I were to compare like Dual Blade and the Double Saber, personally I say the Dual Blade is a lot more fun. Also, I realized that I've been calling Dual Blades since the entire time, and I forgot that PSO2 Global changed it to Soaring Blades, so but on the edited video I will have like the caption to make sure that it is Soaring Blades. So anyways, I just wanted to make that remark just to make sure that you guys are like not too confused or think that I'm like stupid or something. Anyways, onto the last weapon, which is the wand. The wand is probably one of the easiest ones to play in all of Etoile, because this weapon can basically do everything. It can mob really well, it can boss really well. It has a lot of safety in that you have guard frames in the middle of doing your attacks, and it's just a really nice and easy, comfortable feeling weapon, which I will suggest to everyone starting out that it's gonna feel very weird at the beginning because it's a very, very floaty class, and it kind of feels a little off sometimes where you don't really have a class that feels this floaty before Etoile, but once you get used to it, it's just super fun. So now that we have the information, the basic information for all the weapons and all, Etoile is a striking based class, by the way, but you can just use any attack mag. So even if you have a like 200 range attack mag, you will be getting 200 strike anyways. So it doesn't really matter what attack type mag you have for the preparation. And as for the subclassing and whatnot, the subclasses that we'll be looking at Etoile is actually surprisingly a lot of classes. Hunter Etoile, Fighter Etoile, Ranger Etoile, Force Etoile, even in some cases the whatchamacallit, Techer Etoile. So why does so many classes benefit from subclassing Etoile? Because I did mention a bit earlier, but there is this thing called the damage balancer where you will be taking 70% less damage from all sources, which is one of the reasons why, you know, a lot of people take the Hunter sub, right? The survivability of it. Etoile provides a lot of that and also provides a lot more as well. And it also potentially can do more damage than Hunter sub for like the striking classes and all as well. So like, I know it's been a lot of a meme that people are saying like, you know, Hunter Etoile is like the meme tank class and everything like that. But regardless of what anyone says, you know, Hunter Etoile simply just does more damage than Hunter Fighter. So it's like, you can't really complain about that, right? It's like, even if you want to play, you know, for the damage and everything, like just like Hunter Fighter is just not stronger than Hunter Etoile. So yeah, you kind of can't blame the people who choose to do that. They're not doing it for the meme. Don't worry. They are not doing it for the meme. They are actually doing it because it is effective. Although the cases like Ranger Hunter versus Ranger Etoile and things like that, did you know that Ranger Etoile actually does not do the highest damage? Stuff like, say, the Ranger Fighters and things actually does more damage than Ranger Etoile. But because of how Ranger is played, where you kind of have to rely a lot on those standing snipes and getting very, very specific damage by staying still and the like, the Etoile class has a skill in which if you stay still, you basically get Hunter Physique or Super Armor. So yeah, that's basically a Ranger's wet dream. 70% damage reduction, free Super Armor. Dude, amazeballs. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. So you can probably think of the implications from here of what goes on. Alright, now for the next section, Summoner Pets. I'm sorry that I won't be able to really like comment too much on this because I haven't personally experimented a lot with Vulcan myself, but I will tell you that Herbie, aka Glass in the JP server, is honestly not great. So I'm sorry to disappoint for Summoner players, but you can kind of ignore Herbie. Because if you already have like a nice Seri and things like that, you're like completely fine. If you have a Redoran, you're completely fine. You have whatever, you're completely fine. It's just not that great. However, you should probably get your hands on Vulcan because I have heard a lot of good things from a lot of people about Vulcan. Although like I said, I haven't experimented myself, but I will highly recommend that you really look at Vulcan and be like, okay, let's give this one a go. Because it is the evolved form of Synchro, so we're going to have to see what happens with it. And also Vulcan looks super cool. It kind of looks like, you know, the Hyuna form of Darkfall's Elder and things like that. So, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I'm okay with it. And now here's the next part, which is super important. The recommended quests are now here. This is so important because this is what we've been playing on the Japanese server to do power leveling for the longest time. So let's go over briefly exactly how it works. So every 5 days there is a cycle of 5 quests, which 2 of them are basically worthless, but the other 3 kind of will be very, very, very good for EXP. Depending on which map rotation and all that we get on North America, I will make an update for all of you to know which one is very good to play. But these quests permanently have a plus 200% EXP rate, which is why it's extremely important for anyone who is looking to power level to play these quests. When the group of like Cammy and all of the boys came over to try out the JP server and everything, I basically helped them level to max level in like, I don't know, 2-3 hours. Max level being like the level 85, level 90s, basically whatever level that you can get to the endgame content with. Because there is this quest called World Engulfed in Shadows, which I'm not sure the name for North America for now, but like I said, I will probably make another video featuring like how to actually properly power level with these featured quests and things like that. So stay tuned for all those confirmations and everything, but just know that this is the best way to power level in PSO2 outside of keys. That and also the fact that not every featured quest is actually good EXP. So just keep that in mind. Only a very select few are extremely good. So now next up, the collection files. So there's going to be some new weapons here, which is really nice in a way, but also kind of very unnecessary. The weapon here comes at plus 30, which is the Croceus weapons and the Millionaire weapons. So you can actually kind of ignore these because they are actually not stronger than the upgraded potentials of the Ophistia, the Atlas X, and the Trailblazer series. But instead, what I would suggest looking at them for is that since they do come at exactly plus 30, what you can use them for is to be grind fodder for your weapons. And there's actually also no excuse for having the 15-star weapons in what I just mentioned earlier as well, especially the Atlas X as well, because there is a campaign that basically gives you like, I don't know, 3 for free, which I probably will be covering in a separate video talking about the Road to Episode 6 campaigns. But please bear with me here. I'm trying to just like get out all the good information as possible. I probably should have made like a, smaller digest for each section, but you know what? I think this is fine. But yeah, in the honest case that you really do not have the resources to get all of them, like the other 15-star weapons and stuff like that, I guess you can look at these for use, but most of it, I honestly will suggest that it's just grind fodder. And well, the last thing is there's also the egg collection file, which you can get any of the 14-star pets, by the way, which includes the new Herbie and Vulcan. So if you're looking to get any of the shiny pets, or any of like the pets that you've never acquired before, including the Rappy pet, by the way. I know a lot of people have been grinding for that Rappy pet. Congratulations, Stefan, by the way. And also Uber and a lot of other people. But yeah, you can kind of just get everything exactly as you wanted now from the collection folders. So it's going to be very good. Alright, and then there is the new enemy types, yada yada, Lumen Mechs, yada yada yada, not important. You guys will see that eventually anyway, so you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. But what is important though is the ultra enemies. Because there is the ultra hard difficulty now, right? A lot of the bosses and also some of the enemies in ultra hard difficulty will actually have new mechanics. They will have new attack moves. They will act very differently from the normal enemies, and they look quite different too. I mean, it's a reskin, but more or less, it is very interesting because this is something that I always asked for a really long time. That when you up the difficulty, the enemy should have like new mechanics and stuff. And Ultra Hard really took this one to heart, and also they do a crap load of damage. They do so much damage, so just be careful. Because the enemies in Ultra Hard will do so much damage to you that you might have not expected the amount of damage that you will take. So just be a little careful about that. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, I keep getting one shot at the beginning of Ultra Hard and things. So I can actually get into the math a little, but how it works is basically because Ultra Hard has like a different multiplier for the damage, right? If you don't reach a certain like defense threshold, aka have a proper set of like say the 13-star units and stuff in the future, you will take extra like multiplicative amounts of damage from ultra hard enemies, which is why it hits really hard. But once you actually get like the amount of defense that is appropriate and everything like that, you will be completely fine. So but still, you're still gonna get a lot of damage from bosses anyways, in especially like the places where there's a very high multiplier for the enemies, such as the Divide quest and so on. But that's the stuff for the future, so don't worry about that for now, but just be prepared that HP and defense will be a rather important aspect of the game, instead of only running attack, and attack. And now that I mentioned Ultra Hard, there is going to be some fields, not every field by the way, that has access to the Ultra Hard difficulty. And now in these ultra hard fields, the ultra hard enemies drop very specific weapons. For example, any one of the like say Dyne series, Resonance series, Genin series, and the like. What's important about them is they will be components that is very important to use for creating your next still weapons, which is basically the second best weapon in the game right now, more or less, or third best, somewhere around there, but it's definitely in the top 3. So it's going to be kind of like a long-term investment on getting these weapons. But the question is, are they actually better than the Ophistia, the Atlas X, the Trailblazer upgraded potentials? No, it's not. But it is very important to get because they will be a component for the future. So, you know, all of you guys having fun farming, you know, Ultimate Amduskia, having fun farming the Bewitched Woods and a lot of things like that. Well, I guess you're going to be farming ultra hard fields now. If you can get them, it's very, very good because, like I said, this is kind of like a long-term investment kind of thing. But oh, that's a lightning outside, by the way. Yeah. See, even the lightning agrees with me that this is very important, so that it even got me a lightning strike on recording. But yeah, you don't have to worry too much if you don't get these right now because they will drop a lot more common in the future, and you will also be able to trade for them specifically. But yeah, it's still good to have them if you can get it early, just so you can trade for your stuff a little bit early, and just be prepared for whenever that comes. And then the very last thing here is that we're going to have a new 15-star weapon series called the Rivalate in North America. We call it the Liberate in JP, but also the potential is actually called Liberated Fang here. So I'm not sure why it's called Rivalate, but yeah, I'm not going to question it for now. Anyways, what happens with the Liberated weapons is that it is evolved from the Novell weapon series, which you will be able to easily acquire. But what I will say is that the Liberated weapons is, with the upgraded potential, is effectively the top 3 strongest weapons in the game in JP right now. So it will be something that is very important to keep an eye on, and it is something that you will maybe want to invest in the future because they will become very powerful. They also have access to the S4 and S5 slots. They don't have S1, 2, 3, so it might be a little bit harder to do affixing and augmenting and things like that, but regardless, the Liberated weapons will be stronger than the non-buff potentials of the Ophistia, Atlas X, and the Trailblazer series. So keep that in mind and just know that for a while, Liberated will start falling off because all the other weapons will become better. But in the long term, when the Liberated gets the buff potential, it will become the strongest, like in the top 3 strongest weapons in the game. At least as of the time of this recording, that is. Now, I'm not going to go over all the other like weapon crafting, extension stuff, yada 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 in the post, but there will be Rising Weapon Badges 5, which you will be able to get your Novell from here. So with that, you just need to get a Liberated Unlocker, in which I'm not entirely sure how you're going to get everything in North America yet, or well, global. But yeah, Rising Weapon Badge 5 for the Novell, and then all the materials to upgrade it to a Liberate. Novell units will also be available, which Novell's unit is a really, really good one. In case you guys don't have any like proper nice 13-star units and things like that, you can actually just grab Novell. It's really good. But for some classes like say the Bouncer Phantom and stuff, which needs a lot of tankiness, Novell units are going to be just your endgame units until Cross comes out, so you'll be fine. Oh, and also the very last thing is that Hero is getting the Hero buff that we got a bit earlier in the JP server. So let's just say you're going to get a lot of damage increase, and also Hero boost is just a lot easier to maintain now. So that's just about everything you need to know. Just say Hero is going to be a lot stronger, one of the strongest classes in the game, 100% when played at the highest potential on enemies that you can counter comfortably with. So a lot of you might be asking me, hey RC, how exactly significant is the Hero buff? Because I know a lot of Hero players might be really frustrated that, hey, the Hero boost is super hard to maintain because every time you get hit, you would lose basically like say 30% of your damage, and then it's just terrible. And then your maximum damage is just at 60%, which kind of really falls behind all the other classes right now. So what SEGA did was made the lower limit for Hero boost 60%, which is the maximum for live patch right now, and then upgraded the Hero boost's maximum to 80%. So at max, it's 80% damage, and then when you get hit, you go down to 60% damage. Yes, you lose like 20% damage if you get slapped. However, that damage is literally the maximum damage you can do today. So think about that for a second there. And also, they also made it so that once you do exactly one counter, you will get your max hero boost. So yeah, you can just get smacked around all you like. You just have to do exactly one counter and you're at 80% damage boost. That's insane. That, and also you only need 1 point now in the weak hit critical. On your skill tree, that skill where you get the critical when you hit weak spots. But yeah, you need to only have 1 point now to basically reach 100% crit rate. When before, you basically need 5 points to get 60%. Overall, it's not like this changes up the entire, gameplay of Hero and things like that, but it will make Hero significantly easier to play, and for a lot of players, that's one of the best things that could happen to it. So, hope all of you are going to enjoy Hero playing a lot more, and all the Hero players are probably crying tears of joy right now. Ho ho! Because you just get a free damage boost. I mean, yeah. We take those. Whew, that was a very long overview. Well, anyways, I hope you all got a very, very good amount of like useful information and whatnot. So, I mean, that's what matters the most, right? But anyways, post a comment down below and let me know which part of episode 6 you are the most interested in. Whether it be the Phantom class, the Etoile class, the new weapons, the new whatever, I wanted to see what you all are the most interested in, and I'll try to like go back to my memories and just think about like, wait, what was I most interested in episode 6? Maybe it could be a fun topic for discussion later. But either ways, hope you all enjoyed the video and hope it was very informative to you. Once again, I apologize for the super long video, but either ways, take care of yourself, don't forget to smile, and I'll see you all in the next video.